What's up, Champions fam? It's Zeke 4-0, back with a brand new WWE Champions video, and the time has come. I have made a list, and I've checked it twice, and I have finally made a decision on who's been truly naughty or nice when it comes to WWE Champions 2020. 2020 has been a very rough year for many of us within the community, whether in real life matters or within the game itself. But why not round out the year before we indulge in the ecstasy of the unknown, which is 2021, with a best of the best pertaining to WWE Champions 2020. Now, I have gotten this broken down in some brackets. I got who I feel, in my opinion, are the best free-to-play champions, the best chase champions, and, of course, the best mega superstar champions. But I am going to start off with the naughty list. I only got 3 champions here who I feel, in my opinion, if they're not the worst champions that came out this year, they're at least the most underwhelming champions, if that makes sense. Now, the cool thing about this video is this. I want us to talk it up in the comments below, because my list might be different from your list. Point blank. That's just the way it's going to be. Opinions are opinions, and I'm going to respect your opinion the same way that I hope that you respect mine. Now, we're going to have different reasons for why people are where they are, but at the same time, we're going to get the point across, and I hope that you all understand. So we're starting off with the 3 champions of 2020 that I felt were the most underwhelming, if not the worst representatives of their class. I could have easily done this for all 6 classes, but I'm just stepping out real quick just to give my opinion, because these were the 3 champions that stood out the most for me and were the biggest letdowns. And we're starting off with modern era technician Pete Dunne, the Bruiserweight. The reason why Dunne is here is the simple fact that a lot of people were excited when we got to see Pete Dunne. You know what I mean? It was hype. It was a reason to get stoked for the MLC that was going to be revolving around him, because Pete Dunne is one of those characters that a lot of people wanted to see in the game. He's a technical mastermind. So we were going to be thinking going into that MLC, oh snap, we're about to get a beast mode free-to-play technician unit. And we haven't really seen any since Zombie Balor or Lita, you know what I mean? Free-to-play MLC techs are far in between. I think a lot of you can agree on that. But when we finally saw him launched in game, it is sad to say that a lot of us were let down by the gameplay from the broskies, thanks to the good old folks over at Scopely. And it's a huge reality check when you think the only way that you can really play him and feel enjoyment from it is by taking him to 4-star. And even when you take him to 4-star, you're not really having fun. At the end of the day, this is a game. And I understand there's a competitive edge to this. And I understand that everyone has their own way of going about things. But to invest in a character throughout an entire month and to know that they're not really going to be that fun at all, if anything, whenever content comes back that requires that said champion and you're dreading it more than looking forward to it, that speaks volumes. And Pete Dunne was a guy that I feel they should have literally let be a be-all, end-all guy, a solid freebie to many, and they screwed the pooch on it. They screwed the pooch, because before the whole pandemic, he was on fire, and now that he's back with Pat McAfee, you know, Danny Burch, Oney Lorcan, he's back doing his thing, showing how consistent and how incredible in the ring he is, win or lose. So this one was a huge letdown for me, and that's why I'm speaking volumes on it. I'm not going to really speak like that for every champion that's on this list, but to me, Pete Dunne was definitely the biggest waste of an opportunity for this year in free-to-play units. And hopefully they make things right whenever, if ever, they make a Mega Superstar variant of him. But this is another guy that I also feel that could get the Greg Valentine, the Hammer look, and pretty much get an opportunity for the players to do a tour or something that gives him buffs and allow us to see his true full potential. There's still a chance they could easily do something like that and rework him like they did The Rock and Trickster Big Show, but who knows what they're going to do. Following Pete Dunne is another character that a lot of people have been wanting to see in the game. Road Dogg, DX Army Attitude Era Showbo. This was another huge letdown. His move set, they improved the choose move, but still, was it enough? Not really. The only thing this guy had going for him is that he is a solid coach for a champion we will be discussing later on. He's a solid coach alongside Natty, who can help you when you're going up against a very top tier waifu that was released this year as well. Huge letdown. Solid coaching link. I'm not going to take nothing away from that. The DX crew, both free to play, pay to play, or chase, they have made a solid squad for tandem action. There's no way around that. Whether a male, mixed match, they're going to get the job done. But Road Dogg, man, one of the most charismatic characters I've ever come across during my time watching wrestling. For them to handle him so poorly that literally in the midst of everything that was going on with the Thanks and Tanks MLC, they went ahead and reworked him. Hence why I was discussing so much about Pete Dunne. I hope that maybe they rework him a little bit more. During a choose move 3-star meta, Road Dogg would have been hot stuff. There's no way around, just because he had to choose move. But where we are now, in the realm of 5 stars, he isn't up to snuff. And it's sad. It's very unfortunate. I know more than likely we will never see Billy Gunns in the game, but it is what it is. We got most of D-Generation X. We got most of the crew in here. But, man, I have to say, in my opinion, Road Dogg has to be the weakest one of the DX Army squad. And it is what it is. Like I said, Champions could rework characters. A lot of other mobile games do it. So Champions could easily do this too if they felt the need to, or of course if they felt they would make money off of it. And I feel that Road Dogg is a character that, even though he got a piss poor introduction, he is a fan favorite to many. So we'll see how that goes. My last champion for, in my opinion, one of the worst, if not the most underwhelming champions, is going to surprise you. But if you've been around for a while, you know where I'm going with this one. And some of you, again, you might agree with these ideas and these opinions, and others not so much, but hear me out. Adam Cole, baby. Modern era showboat. Undisputed era. Now, look, man. This is another guy. If you notice with my list of 3, these are characters that were sought out. People wanted them in the game. People were excited when they heard that they were going to be debuting. And Adam Cole was one of those characters that I was hype about. He was on my list of champions I'd like to see in 2020. Lo and behold, he made his debut, and then I saw the gameplay. Now, the thing that hurts Adam Cole is he is a showboat. Had this guy been a striker, had this guy been a technician, had this guy been a trickster, I think things would have been a little bit different with how you look at him. But the showboat class is kind of still underwhelming until we get to a couple characters later on. But Adam Cole was one of those guys that was the first, shining light of 2020 to turn things around for the class. I love the showboat class, but I still feel that it needs more work. It needs a solid showing of affection throughout 2021 so it can be up to snuff with the other classes. The same goes for technicians as well, and tricksters too. Those are classes that I feel need a lot of love when we move into the new year. But Adam Cole, just his name alone, the stock that he's brought to the WWE, and everything he has been able to achieve. I think we got him around the same time that his reign ended as NXT champion, and it was one of, if not the longest reign ever as NXT champion. And then to get a mid-tier card, it's just a smack in the face to what the guy did in real life and what the Undisputed Era as a whole has done in NXT. And I really felt that this guy would have been another top tier NXT subcategory unit, as well as a god tier showboat class champion, and we did not get that. But I'm actually intrigued. For me personally, due to how Adam Cole is right now, this is more than likely the first and last card we're going to get of Adam Cole. Unless they make an original zombie version of him, this is probably the be-all, end-all for him. Some champions in the game only get one card. Others get multiples. You already know how it goes in champions. But this, for me, on the mega superstar side of things, was truly underwhelming. It was a situation that I just couldn't get behind, and I was very saddened when I saw how they did Adam Cole. They should have done him justice. They did not. And this is how I feel about it. I rarely ever come across an Adam Cole in any type of PvP, and that speaks volumes. That's saying a lot, okay? I see more 5-star bronze Slick Ricks than I do Adam Coles. And I know that Adam Cole is a name that they released because they know that he would make money. But when you got gameplay like Adam Cole's, it's hard to get behind. And a lot of the content creators, when they were making it, I can't put words in their mouth, but with how they went through the motions on those videos, it wasn't like it was the be-all, end-all scenario for Cole. So I just think, in my opinion, yes, that's the phone ringing in the background. I honestly feel that this was a huge letdown, and I hope maybe they right the wrongs of this as we press on forward. Now, here we go. We're going to get into the main shtick of the list. And yes, if you heard that phone call, we are not stopping for nothing. We are going to get this out. We are going to get this done. So, let's get started with the best picks of the free-to-play champions of WWE Champions 2020. And this one is real easy. And as you can tell by the time right now, this is not going to be short, sweet, and brief. So let's go ahead and dive on in. Acrobats, hands down, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Modern era acrobat Bayley, the huggable one. The damage that she is able to do with her color turn gems. The way that she is able to cycle her moves on her own. And the tag team link. She is hands down one of the best free-to-play waifus that we've gotten in a mighty long time. And for what it's worth, she's the only acrobat free-to-play MLC champion that we got from 2020. But she was worth it. Now, the MLC was a hit and a miss. There ain't no way around that. I'm not going to tear from that. But the Bayley shop, allowing people to pick up, key resources, getting a chance at IGC cash. This was a solid MLC for the characters that came out of it. That's the best way to put it. And to get a top-tier waifu who was free to play that you could have taken all the way up to 4-star gold if you were lucky, speaks volumes. So with Bayley hands down is one of the best, if not the best, acrobat free-to-play champion of this year. And I think it's hard to argue. She now has the Christmas gear out, generating more blues. And you're getting guaranteed 1,000 shards of her with that offer, so you can take her up to 4-star silver if you need to. Best believe your boy going to be dipping in that honey jar real soon. But at the moment, though, there's no argument here that Bayley was hands down the only and the best acrobat champion. So that's just a no-brainer here. This one's going to be a pretty easy, decent list. But there are going to be some conflicts, like the one that's about to come up. Because after acrobats, of course, it's powerhouses. Now, Killian Dane, the Beast of Belfast, the Beauty and the Beast MLC, in my opinion, was one of the worst MLCs that I had ever experienced in my life. But I will not take anything away from Dane. Dane was a solid free-to-play champion. I feel that his 3D work was piss poor handled. And that happens from time to time when it comes to champions. Some champions, they look exactly how they look in real life. They make it work. Other times it looks like they're, not that well kept. They're not really tended to with tender love and care, so to speak. And Dane is one of those champions. But Dane is also a champion that has a very solid trainer and coaching ability. He's also a monster because of looking at the overhaul that they did to the powerhouse class. He's able to do some crazy move damage, let alone the damage he's able to do while cycling with his moveset. He was definitely a champion that if you got the opportunity to take him up to 4-star gold, I believe you should have taken full-blown advantage. And even afterwards, like me, I'm still going to take him up to 4-star bronze for his trainer and coaching ability. So that's how I feel about him. But I feel that there was another free-to-play MLC champion, powerhouse, that was superior to Dane, but also in a sense, they kind of play the same way. So it kind of depends on how far in you got with them. Because from Killian Dane, we go to Shelton Benjamin, modern era powerhouse, the gold standard. Now, the cool thing about Shelton here is Shelton delivered, man. Shelton was one of those guys that I didn't expect to see a variant of him come out this year, but he was a good surprise to many. He's able to cycle. He does crazy damage. I still see Shelton's whenever I deal with PvP content. I see him in feuds. I see him in showdowns. So that speaks volumes. Like, you come across certain units multiple times over. It's like deja vu in showdowns and feuds, where every team you go up against, there's like this recurring cast of characters, and that shows you how good a champion must be if you're literally going up against different individuals and they got the same guy or girl on their squad just wreaking havoc. And Shelton Benjamin is one of those guys that is dependable. I wouldn't say that he's a god tier unit, but sometimes having a fun unit, which he is, who can just blow up the board, cycle, deal some mass crazy damage with perks, medals, and straps involved, it's not going to be a loss of investment here. So it's a tie between Killian and Shelton because of the simple fact they're pretty much similar characters, just different skins. So it all depends on what you like. Some people like chocolate, some people like vanilla. So that's how it goes. Like, either you like Shelton more or you prefer Killian. But at the end of the day, you weren't losing out by investing in either of these champions, let alone both. So we'll move on to the next Chase champions, because next up, it's going to be the Showboats. And hands down, this is the guy that I felt that was the most underrated. One of the most underrated characters walking into an MLC. New Gen Showboat, Typhoon, the Natural Disasters. Those heal gems, those protect gems are nasty. This guy is a problem and an amazing trainer and coach. His links are actually solid. When you get free-to-play units that have top-tier links, that is always a benefit too, because you can always put them with your go-to champ, your go-to waifu, and they are going to carry out the business. And Typhoon is one of those characters that, yeah, he might not look it, but he's kind of like Transformers. There's more than meets the eye here, and definitely a solid unit. But from one champion who's a showboat, who just is buck nasty, to another who just makes things a little bit more classy. Modern era showboat, Lacey Evans, the women's right, December 2020's What a Year MLC free-to-play champion. I told you I was going to do this list once everybody was available. Columns of heal gems. Can literally get her health back any day. Deals crazy damage, can cycle over and over. This is a girl with a coaching ability that helps out with that gem damage now, and she double it up on 2 colors. She's going to be around for a long time. I honestly feel, in my opinion, that hey, if you got that time, if you got the tokens to get her to 4-star gold, do it now. And even if you want to go another step ahead and take her to 5-star bronze, she's worth it. She is worth the investment. There's no way around it. This is one of the best waifus, free-to-play MLC units that we got this entire year. Lacey Evans. And yeah, she was introduced prematurely with the leaks that were put out throughout the community, but she showed up for business, and she is all about it, and you don't want that smoke. She's definitely going to help people. Her and Typhoon, with the drought of health packs at the moment, definitely going to help you with saving health packs. Definitely going to help you in clearing content every single day. She is an asset to your account. She is a true asset. Raw tag link, incredible trainer and coaching ability, cyclable, and a new and improved Akam, formerly known as Enzo. How you doing? Lacey's just that chick. And it was definitely a solid note to end on when it comes to MLC free-to-play champions. But then we're going to go from one solid unit of a class to another top-tier unit. Striker, Modern Era Cena. Masters of the WWE Universe, evil robot of the Skull King. A lot of people slept on him. Me, being a huge fan of He-Man and being a huge fan of just action figures in general, seeing this guy come into the game definitely made things interesting. And I feel this is another guy. Well, a lot of people obviously were going to invest in him because, oh, strikers put up insane gem damage. Yes, they do. There's no way around it. Every class has their niche that makes them interesting, makes them different from other classes. But Striker Cena was the full package, in my opinion. I still come across him. He's a solid character. And any MLC free-to-play champion that we've gotten has been given the opportunity of a legendary strap to improve them. I got lucky with a skip turn strap for this guy. And a striker with a skip turn strap is a nightmare for many. There's no way around it. And now that I'm actually thinking about it, going off topic, do we have a striker at the moment that has a skip turn move? I know we have strikers that have the move where you deal damage and the pin bar doesn't move. But do we have a striker at the moment without that doesn't have a actual skip turn move? I'm actually intrigued about that. Get to me in the comments below. I think we got strikers that have the straps for skip turn, but I don't think we have strikers yet that actually have a skip turn move. And that within itself is going to be a dangerous problem. But Striker Cena, over the top animations, dealing crazy damage, able to cycle, able to convert protect gems to blow up the board even further. He's a solid offensive defensive beast. I mean, you think about it, you go up against a protect gem guy. He's kind of like Powerhouse Ambrose. Ambrose is a guy who can literally convert multiply gems into blast gems. Cena can do the same with protect gems. He can put his own down, but he can also convert others' protect gems so he can blow up the board. So I like that. I like niche characters that can still hit hard and top heavy, and Cena definitely delivered with that. But then we're on to the next one. You already knew what it was going to be. You should have known that this girl right here was going to be on this list. Modern era trickster, Carmella, the Princess of Staten Island. This girl took everybody by storm. Hence why you see a bunch of them at 5-star bronze, because she's just worth it. Now, Road Dogg, alongside Natty, can kind of slow Carmella down. There's no way around that. But at the end of the day, Mella's just money. She's just going to get the job done. There's no way around it. She's Fabolous. Fabulous. She's one of, in my opinion, overall, she was the best free-to-play unit of 2020. That's just honest. It wasn't me saving her for last because she's a trickster, but it's also the fact that, in my opinion, she's definitely the best champion that came out on a free-to-play standpoint. Now, all the other champions I mentioned, they all serve their purpose. And you can see that there was some issues here because I skipped over technicians, because that could have been Pete Dunne. But that's done. But Carmella, though, this was another level. This was another level that I wasn't expecting at all. And now that new husbando is in the game, she's just going to be more deadly when it comes to mixed match content. When that's available, she's going to be a nightmare for many. And she's going to make this guy that I'll mention later on in the video even more dangerous. But Mella, the triple purple, she's just dangerous, man. I just can't get around it. She's going to be torture with the submissions, the submission turns, draining you for heavy damage. This isn't no lightweight damage. You're getting drained for multiple turns over, and you're losing boatloads of health. Carmella is genuinely free-to-play money. If you have her on your account and you're wondering, what's a trickster I should take up to 5-star? She is the answer. She is it. If you missed out on Carmella, I'm sorry, man. But this was literally one of the best champions we've ever gotten since Champion's Coronation. She's that good. And there's no talking bad about her. It literally comes down to a thing of either you got your perks ready so you can get in and deal some crazy damage. And even then, by the time she gets her turn, she could easily get you locked into subs. And it's just your worst nightmare. So, with that being said, Carmella is a be-all, end-all, free-to-play MLC unit. But there is another waifu who I didn't expect to be god tier as Carmella that would probably give Carmella, not even probably, will give Carmella a run for her money. Especially if you got her, because I'm not even going to lie, this was a character that I did not expect to be as good as she was, who ended up just bypassing all my standards. It took me a moment to sit back and really think about how good she is, but looking at the meta period that we're in now, this woman is a problem. So we're going from free-to-play champions to chase champions. And this is a character that I had to address and get her knocked out now. Lana. Lana came in with Killian Dane, Beauty and the Beast, right? Did not expect her to be so dangerous. This chick right here is on another apex. You get her gear. If you got her gear, she's dangerous, man. Her moveset can be a little bit confusing, but once you get her broken in, bro, it's not a good party for your opposition. There's no way around it. This is one of the few characters, not saying that I took her lightly, I just wasn't impressed. I was like, how is Lana a chase champion? But after going over the content of her, after seeing her in action against me, I understand why. This chick is just dangerous. The 100% boost to her move damage, the way she's able to cycle, the low charge moves, she is a very annoying champion to go up against. Carmella is the queen of the free-to-plays. Lana definitely holds it down as a chase champion. And no lie, I had to put her first because I knew with all the other chase champions that we were going to cover, I knew that I was going to get lost in the juice. But I could not forget Lana because this was a character who literally took me by storm. I didn't expect her to be as good as she was. And after seeing the gameplay and after having the other content creators break her down for me, I see why. I see why she is a valued asset to any roster. And I understand why a lot of players who got her have taken her to 5-star bronze over Carmella. So Lana, definitely the dark horse. The dark horse of the chase champions. The other chase champions, when you see them, you'll understand. But I had to take care of Lana. Lana is bae. Lana is waifu. And even though we don't get another brand new Rusev, it is what it is. We finally got Lana in the game, and her presence will be known. I actually do look forward to seeing a proper counter to her. Because even though she's a trickster, she can cakewalk some striker waifus. And that's speaking volumes. That is truly speaking volumes. But next up on the list, Trish Stratus. Now, Trish Stratus, Attitude Era Acrobat. I believe she's actually supposed to be Ruthless Aggression. Could be wrong, but I didn't get her. The point is, Trish is interesting. The letdown for me about Trish is she's a solid champion that can cycle. She can cycle. She can do some insane in the membrane damage. But at the same time, they really messed up with her 3D art, man. A lot of the character designs for some of these characters, it's like, y'all knew better. Y'all knew better. It's kind of hard for me to invest in chasing after a character that I can barely look at. And Trish Stratus is a beautiful young lady. You know, she's on MILF status now. But at the same time, man, I was like, come on, y'all dropped the ball on this one. Like, Trish Stratus was eye candy for many of us growing up. And the way they did her was janky. Straight janky. But her gameplay, another character solid. I wouldn't say she's a god tier unit, but she is another solid addition to the Acrobat class, let alone the waifu collective. So that's why she is here. She's one of those characters. She isn't OP, broken, or busted, but she hits all of the prerequisites. She hits all the requirements needed to be a viable, solid option to any roster. So, new addition to the Acrobat class from the Thanks and Tanks MLC. Trish Stratus definitely got her due, but if I had to pick between the Acrobat version or the Striker version, I'm going to still hold it down with Stratus Faction Attitude Era Striker, because at the end of the day, regardless of what class she is, Trish is bae, and there's no way around that. But now, we're moving on to another chase champion, El Idolo, Modern era acrobat Andrade Almas. In my opinion, one of the most annoying characters to go up against because he is kind of board dependent, but if you were able to get his gear and you know how to work him, he is a nightmare for many. That's one of the cool things about some characters. Just like the Broski Merrick spoke about, you know, if he had he likes to utilize Fandango. He speaks highly of Fandango. But the cool thing is, he's also said this. It's like, I understand why people take up Slick Rick the 5-star, but he doesn't like how he plays. But it doesn't, because he doesn't like how he plays, doesn't take away from the character. That's the same way that Andrade is. There's certain characters that not everyone has that type of time to properly work, especially depending on what kind of content you're using them in. But if you know how to work that champion better than somebody else, then they become a problem. You know what I mean? So that's how you got to look at it with Andrade. Andrade's a character that he isn't for everybody. He isn't quick and easy. He isn't one of those turn one guys that's going to destroy everything and all that. You got to be smart. You got to look at your board. You got to understand what you're dealing with. But at the same time, once you know how to work him, the same way with Lana, he's going to be a huge asset to your roster. And he's one of those characters that a lot of the Chase champions, they came with gear that makes them OP busted. And Andrade, in my opinion, is still one of the best acrobats. But like any meta, there's always going to be changes. It's always going to be a revolving door. People who were tier 1 can go down to tier 2. People who were tier 2 can go up to tier 0. So Andrade is one of those guys that I feel he's always going to be in the mix. He might not be everyone's top pick, but he's always going to be in that conversation at least to be like, hey, don't forget about him because he can hit hard and he is fast. So Andrade, one of the dudes I was really hyped up to see come into the game with his multiply gem damage, his links, his gear. He was definitely a solid come through for 2020. But then there was someone else. There were some solid picks for these Chase champions of 2020, y'all. And it's time to play the game. We will not see, trust me, this is not the last time you see him, okay? And you will understand why. Modern era acrobat, Triple H, Masters of the WWE Universe, Evil Skull King of Kings. My broski Ethan praises this guy left and right. He is a fun unit to use and a pain in the ass to go up against. So, with that being said, he's a problem. He's a problem. He can blow up the board. He can cycle all day. Crazy insane animations, man. No lie, the Masters of the WWE Universe alongside the Zombies are two of my favorite subcategories of characters. My least favorite being the Hall of Fame units, just because of the aesthetic, but at the end of the day, they are their subcategories and champions, and I look forward to seeing more characters because they got some crazy action figure designs for a lot of champions. They could go a long way with the Masters of the WWE Universe if they keep on good terms with everything. But Triple H, all of the characters, in my opinion, he is not the only Masters of the WWE Universe champion on here. We already discussed free-to-play wise with Striker Cena. Acrobat Triple H definitely was worth hunting down. He's a great asset to many rosters. The only downside about multiply gems nowadays is this. They can be overkill. But there are also people out there that are now running the perks to nullify multiply gems. So if you don't check who you're going up against first, and this is prime time lesson here in Champions 101, okay? Beginner's Guide coming soon for 2021, okay? You want to make sure you check your opponent's stats before you go into a match, because as broken as Triple H can be, you go up against somebody with a perk that basically nullifies their multiply gem strength, or they got a trainer or a coach equipped it that nullifies it and reduces it. It becomes a very long fight that you dread. You might end up wanting to quit the match and start over because it's that dreadful of a match, because you're not doing any real damage anymore. You're not really blowing up the board the way you want to, and even if you get your moves cycled and refilled, you're basically looking at the same outcome every single time. You're not going to be hitting as hard as what you were supposed to be, and that gives your opponent more time to put you in the dirt. So on one side, Triple H, is a king. He is a true evil skull king of kings. On the other side, I just had to address that multiplied characters, just like Andrade, okay? Sometimes it can be a hit and a miss. So with these type of characters, you always want to be smart. You want to check your opponent's perks. You want to check out what kind of coaches and stuff they have equipped. So that way, you're not wasting your time. You can use somebody else to destroy them, and then you put Triple H back in to face somebody else that he's going to cakewalk. Turn 1, turn 2, turn 3 possibly. But another solid acrobat. When we get to these characters now, it's going to be just like you've seen earlier. There's going to be a lot of characters that literally I can't leave them off the list because they are that good. They are just that viable. So we're going to move off of Triple H. We're going to move on from the acrobats. And we're going to roll into the powerhouses. Earthquake, New Gen Powerhouse, The Natural Disasters. Typhoon was the free-to-play. Earthquake was the chase. And when you got Earthquake and you got his shark gear, he is a problem. The boy is nasty. You put him in a tag team with Typhoon, there's going to be problems. Somebody's getting hurt. There's no way around it. Now, I know there's a lot of fanboys out there. There's a lot of fanboys of Hulk Hogan, brother. But I've seen gameplay of some powerhouses that were released, and Hogan's a still top-notch guy. But there's other powerhouses that were released this year that kind of put Hogan on notice. And Earthquake, in my opinion, is one of them. Can cycle, can blow up the board, do crazy damage because he's able to boost his damage. He moves quick for a powerhouse, if you understand what I mean. I think there's certain tandem combinations in the game of different units that can make for a problem. And powerhouses, who are usually the slowest of the classes, but when they hit you, you're going to feel it. Earthquake is a prime example of if you put it on ×2, ×3 speed, and you're still getting hit like a freight train. Earthquake was a problem. If you don't have him, I'm sorry, but you should invest because he's just dangerous, man. Even without his gear, he can clear. He's a guy that literally, with gear, OP. There's no way around it. But without gear, he's still solid enough to get the job done. And that's the thing. There's a lot of in and outs about champions that are different from other games. You know what I mean? FGO, you can easily have a character that's the be-all, end-all for multiple reasons. With or without a craft essence involved, they're going to be able to do what they need to do to help out. A craft essence is just a bonus. The same thing happens here in Champions. There are no gameplay videos nowadays that show a character at their be-all, end-all without perks, straps, or medals. It's near impossible. It's just the honest truth because that's what the meta we live in. So when you throw perks, straps, and medals in, a character who could be mid-tier can hit harder than anything. And a character that already hits hard is going to hit even harder. So it's kind of one of those things where our tier lists are kind of convoluted because on one side, you got characters that are just that doggone good. Because if you got characters that are easily, getting 2 MP moves or 1 charge moves off, it's going to be easy for them to finish fights easily without perks. But then there's other characters you got to take into account, We don't really see many gameplay from content creators from Scopely where they're running champions without perks so you can get the base value. Because a lot of players nowadays are investing in perks. So you're going to see that plus MP. You're going to see that bonus gem addition. But to me, Earthquake is one of those guys that with the gear, it's basically like a self-implemented perk. So when you have perks active, it's just overdose. Overload of action. But even without perks, this would still be a guy that can clear all your daily content. He can still rack up the W's for you. He's beefy, so he isn't going down like no sucker. He's self-efficient. He can blow up the board. He can cycle, and you're just going to have a bad day at the office. So Earthquake was definitely one of the best champions as a chase, powerhouse-wise. But there is another character, another guy. Although his free-to-play counterpart was a letdown and done, this dude deserves his roses, man. Modern era powerhouse Walter, the Ring General. I don't know what to tell you, but look, man, if he got his gear, you already know what the business is. This guy can blow up some boards. This guy can hit pretty hard. He has quick move animations. He has solid tag links. He's got a great coaching and training ability. Walter's one of those guys that doesn't get mentioned a lot, man, and it bothers me. There's certain, because like I said, with how tier lists are, I would love to see a tier list of champions without perks, just like I would love to see a tier list of champions with perks, Fury medals, all that stuff. You know, all the smorgasbord of intel that some of us have the time and excitement to go through and others not so much. You got to have your leaders and officers break things down to you, or, you know, shoot the stuff in a live stream and get the proper answers from the broskies, you know what I mean? But Walter's one of those guys that doesn't get his roses, man. So if you got Walter is a solid 5-star option. He's a beast. That blitz that we got to do where we went up against Walter, oh my lord, that was one of the few times I think that AI played a character right, man. That was one of the few times where I've gone up against the AI and the AI was actually playing the champion right to their knowledge, the best of their knowledge. Okay, it could have been an easy dub for some, and other times not so much. Thankfully, I had Masters of the WWE Universe Taker. Honorable mention there. Honorable mention, because you will not be seeing him on this list. But there will be some other solid candidates there. But Walter, hands down, one of the best champions in the game, man. One of the best. That's the best way to put it. Just like I mentioned with Earthquake. A lot of people put Hogan on his pedestal. And when going up against Hogan, Immortal Hogan with Mr. T, or with Macho Man, okay, Acrobat, there's no denying Hogan still has his king status. And the thing about champions is there's a lot of champions that deserve their rightful king or queen status. Their god or goddess tier. Their 0 level tier. Because they're that good. And Walter's one of those guys that I feel that if he isn't on the precipice of it, he's right there. And if you know how to use him, he's going to be a huge asset and a huge benefit to your roster. So this is a guy, like I'm covering all these characters. When it comes to chase champions, when it comes to free-to-plays, and of course megas, all these brackets, these are all characters that more than likely in 2021, you will be able to go after. You will be able to recruit them. So I'm saying that Walter is a guy to go after. He's a chase champion that is worth the chase. And if you get lucky and get his gear, it takes things to another level. But we're going to move on. Earthquake and Walter definitely held things down on the powerhouse side. But now it's time to move on to the Showboat. In my opinion, there was only one Showboat Chase champion that was worth it all. And so worth it that you needed to get her gear. Point blank period. Without her gear, she's good. With her gear, though, oh, God almighty. Her and Bailey, the boss and hug connection, tag link, mwah, incredible. Their coaching abilities, helping enhance one another's gameplay, the piece de resistance. Sasha Banks is hands down one of the best waifus in the game. One of the best waifus in the game. There's no way around it, okay? Zombie Paige and Zombie Austin are two characters that are basically cheat codes in their own right. But you look at other characters like in the waifus, Lana, Carmella, Bailey, Sasha. You mention those names. You're not saying nothing wrong. You're really not. And Sasha, she was another champion that many yearned for. So when we got that double whammy, of Bailey as a free-to-play waifu and Sasha as a chase waifu, oh, dreams came true for so many, and no one had any regrets when they recruited her. Neither. Sasha and Bailey, both candidates worth 5-star. Both worth it. There's no argument to that. There's no denying that. So Sasha had to be the only chase champion here worth it all. You know what I'm saying? But totally worth it. There's no way around it, especially if you put in the work. If you were able to get her recruited at 4-star gold, you were also more than likely able to get her gear. And with that combination, she just wreaks havoc on people. She's one of the few champions that you will dread going up against, especially because you know that usually when people have chase champions, it ain't going to be a walk in the park in the content that you're facing them in. So that's kind of one of those tread lightly. Do you really want that smoke? And for me, I'd rather just look at her instead of go up against her, you dig? So Sasha had to be on here to represent the chase champions showboat-wise, and there's no argument as to why. You can easily look up gameplay for her, and you will fully understand why she is on this list. So we will leave it there. Behold the king of kings. Undead. I said it wouldn't be the last time that we see Triple H on here, man. Triple H is one of those guys. I'm a huge fan of Triple H. I've always loved him, even though he's been known for his infamous golden shovel of burying people. Triple H has always been a guy that I grew up on, man. You know, Attitude Era, there were so many big names. Undertaker, Mankind, The Rock, Stone Cold. Triple H was one of those guys that rubbed shoulders with a lot of these characters. Kurt Angle as well. He was one of those dudes that's been through all of the eras. So he's one of those characters that, yeah, you might not like that. He's he's the third champion to have 6 classes covered, and he's the first champion to double up on a class, which is Striker. But there's no denying that Striker Triple H is a bad boy. Okay, he's a beefy boy. Okay, pin bar not moving. Able to Zawal Cardo over and over and over again. Can wreak havoc. Could literally be under-leveled and beat the crap out of people that are over his weight. You know what I'm saying? You could have him at 4-star and he's beating up 5 stars. You can have him at 3-star ganging up on 4-star goals. He's just that crazy of a champion. Now, obviously, of course, because he was released at 4-star, you're not gonna, you know it. But you know what I mean, man. You could have him on your squad and he's just gonna get the job done. There's no way around it. And this is definitely another guy that when spring outbreak happens, I do suggest putting a lot of disposable income to the side, because he, alongside 2 other champions that we will be seeing on this list, he's going to be worthwhile. He's a guy that's worth your money. And I try not to say that. I try not to say it. But, dude, if you're not even going to get him just for what he's able to do and clear content-wise, get him for his coaching ability. Purple MP reduction. That cheat code of Zombie Austin we spoke about, yeah, he's the answer to that. And you got to think, he's the first of 6 champions. Okay, there's 5 more. There's going to be 5 more that cover MP reduction. And also, I want you to think about this too. We're in a realm now where we see characters doubling up on move and gem damage. We got some characters that are a triple threat with things, generating set amount, allowing those specialty gems to do more, allowing those specialty gems to apply additional reduction or addition to. Who's to say that we don't end up seeing double MP reduction, triple MP reduction units? The possibilities are endless, but it starts with this guy here. Okay? We got all the other characters out now. We got the MP coaches and trainers, right? We got the characters, the trainers and coaches that now allow certain types of gems to appear on the board at a certain percentage. Now we got the MP reductions. It's going full cycle, and it started with this guy. So aside from being a top-tier unit who handles his business on one side of things with just being an offensive juggernaut, trainer and coaching wise, he's also pretty busted. He's a god tier unit. Hands down one of the most offensively broken champions in the entire game. So he had to be on this list. He had to be. But he is not alone. Oh no. Because the Strikers, champions just fanboy over Strikers. Okay? Attitude Era Strikers specifically. But look, these other 2 guys are also on another level. Well, there's actually a couple of them, so bear with me. Hall of Fame Booker makes it here because he hits like a freaking tank, he hits like a train, and because of rarity. Either you were able to recruit him or you weren't. And if you didn't, I'm sorry. You're never going to get him. Unless they decide to mess up on things like they did with the NWO Randy Savage gear. Never before. And then, oh snap, there he is right there. Booker T is a trophy champion. The true meaning of it. Either you were able to unlock and recruit him, or you weren't. And that's sad to put it that way, but it's the truth. But Booker is still a top-notch unit. Now, granted, there was a Chase champion that counters him. There was NWO Giant, NWO Big Show with the freeze gems and everything. I understand that. And I didn't put Big Show on here because I wasn't a fan of him. I'm not taking away from him because he is a hoss. He is a hoss. But compared to Sasha, though, I just felt that she was superior. So that was just the reason why. I know some people would have been like, wait a minute, NW Big Show was a Chase champion. I know. Just like I just realized I didn't have Striker Brett on here. Yeah, Striker Brett, hands down a top tier free-to-play unit. Didn't even include him on there. So, there, you got me. I literally just caught myself. This ain't scripted. So, yeah, NWO Big Show, solid showboat male candidate. Striker Brett, NWO 2000. Definitely should have been on the list. I'm sorry I didn't have the screenshot for him, my boy. But, back to Hall of Fame Booker. Hall of Fame Booker was a solid Chase champion, trophy champion. Got him. Good. You don't have him. I'm sorry. But at the end of the day, his power gems hit hard. He is beatable, but he is going to be annoying while he's still alive. So with that being said, following up after Zombie Triple H, Hall of Fame Booker is here because he is really the epitome of a trophy champion. Only a handful of people have him. It's kind of similar to AA Arn Anderson. Either you were playing back during the time where he was available, so you have him on your account, or you missed out. You lucked out. You don't have him. Okay? No skin trades anytime soon. So with that being said, we go from Hall of Fame Booker to December 2020's MLC Chase champion. What a year indeed. I hear voices. Modern era striker Randy Orton, the Apex Predator. Whoo! This guy's gonna be a problem in showdowns, y'all. You know? So if I were you, I wouldn't go after him. You know? Anybody with sense wouldn't go after this guy. I mean, showdowns, right? What are those? No one does those anymore. Nah, all things aside, man. Randy is a beast. Randy's a monster. He handles his problems. He will handle issues. He's a nice solid add to the crew before 2021. And there's no way around that. He can cycle all day. He's going to hit hard all day. He's going to bleed you out. He's going to bleed you out without using a bleed move, you dig? Definitely a asset to your roster. If you do not get him by the end of this MLC, just be happy with the shards you have of him, and the hunt begins in 2021. Certain characters, the cool thing about champions is the meta continues to move forward, but at the end of the day, a lot of solid champions are in this game to the point that, so what, you didn't get them in their first year out. They're still going to be worth picking up when it's all said and done. And that's how I feel about Orton. Orton is a guy that, he's worth his name. He's worth his name. He is going to be a problem to many. He's a guy that's going to be able to clear your daily content. He's going to be an asset in showdowns. And feuds, debatable, depending. I could easily see people running him for a sweeper, you know, to clear up your lower tier mess so you can save your other heavy hitters to take care of the big boys and girls. Obviously, you ain't going to be seeing a mixed match feud. Or will we? That would be a cool little situation. And another cool thing about this guy, about a lot of these characters, we got some new content coming in Stipulation Tours. So who knows which characters that I'm mentioning will end up being a huge asset to you when that new content comes out. He might not be great in feuds, but he's going to dominate in Showdown. And maybe he'll help you out one way or the other with these new Stipulation Tours once they're launched in game. But nevertheless, Randy Orton, man, Apex Predator, he was worth the wait. He was leaked alongside Lacey Evans. And somebody else that we will be discussing very shortly. But before that, we're going to wrap things up here. We're going to get to the nitty-gritty. The nitty-gritty with the showstopper. Shawn Michaels, ruthless aggression striker. There's no need of even discussing this, but he cycles, he hits hard, his gear makes him OP. He's Shawn Michaels. He steals the show. He is the showstopper. He's worth his weight in gold. He's another guy that's just that damn good. Like, what else do you want me to say? Strikers are hard to cover because they do what they're supposed to do. They do insane in the membrane damage, let alone being able to cycle. Guy's just a problem, man. Like, I don't know. There's certain characters that it's just as generic as an answer as it is or reason. That's all it needs to be. It doesn't have to be convoluted or overcomplicated. He's a striker. He cycles. He hits hard while he's cycling. And more times than none, if you got your perks and stuff right, he's turn one-ing you. What else is there to really say about it? He's either turn one-ing you or turn two-ing you. You know how bad that is? You know how bad that is? Okay? You're getting done in one turn. A lot of these characters I've covered can kill you in one turn. Let alone, if you have them, they are killing your opponent in one turn. No need for health packs when you're doing that. So, yeah, man, a solid brigade of strikers. Zombie H, Triple H, Hall of Fame Booker, Apex Randy, and Showstopper Shawn. The hits keep on coming. The hits keep on coming. But now, we move on from one HBK to another because we have entered, this is whale country. This is whale territory. Disposable income alert. Hide your wallets, hide your cards, hide your kids because they out here robbing everybody. We have made it to the mega superstars. Now we're starting off with somebody that a lot of people didn't care for. You want to know why? I'll get to it first. Attitude Era, Acrobat, Shawn Michaels, DX Army. This is another guy that people just don't have the patience to use him right. And it's the God honest truth. You know what I mean? There's certain characters that, they're offensive monsters. And so everyone thinks that OP jammer move damage. That's the way to go, right? I want to kill things in 1 or 2 turns. I don't got time to figure out the mechanics of somebody. No disrespect to people. And no disrespect to people's playing style. Because I know with flash feuds and faction feuds, if you're in a top tier faction, playing smart and being fast are keys to success. I understand that. And I got no qualms. I got no quarrel about that. But if you're somebody who has the time to actually look at a character and figure out how to work him or her, you can take them into any content and you're going to wreak havoc. And that's the thing about Shawn. While everybody else was complaining about, I don't get it, I don't see it, I'm just beating the crap out of everybody with multiply gem damage and being able to cycle in one turn and not cause a cascade. And it's just different for everybody. You know what I mean? Like some people, they just want that one turn killer. Like we mentioned with a showstopper Shawn. You want people that are just going to handle the business with the pin bar not moving or infamous skip turns. But to me, DX Shawn is one of those guys. He's a hidden gem. He's a hidden gem. He is not the be-all, end-all of acrobats. He is not. But I can easily say he's one of the top-tier acrobats. There's no way around it. You just got to take your poison. There's going to be some acrobats that are quickly charging everything, one and done. There's going to be others that might need a few turns. But the thing is, the ludicrous thing is this. If you're tripping because it takes maybe 2 turns, 3 turns, or 4 turns to beat somebody, I gotta look at you kind of crazy because in my mind, you're still beating them in a few turns. It might not be a 1 or 2 turn, but if you're still able to walk away with the W in 3 or 4 turns, let alone 5, I don't see that as an L. I genuinely do not see that as an L. And you got to also consider this too. We walked away with a legendary strap for him, meaning that you could apply a skill plate to him, meaning that you could apply Fury medals or armor medals to up that damage one way or the other, right? So that means you got to think about it like this too. The gameplay that we saw of him from the Broskis and the gameplay we were able to partake in for Trial Champions, none of us used straps. None of us used medals. So you got a taste of him with perks, which proved that he is a solid unit, yes. But you didn't get the full test drive with straps and medals and skill plates involved. So a character that might look underwhelming at first because you're playing at the bare minimum, once you get everything else involved that everyone else is using for their accounts, becomes a different story. So this is a guy that I feel he's on this list because of the simple fact he is just that damn good. People just don't give him a chance. And once you know how to properly run him because you have the time to actually put that legendary strap on him, get a skill plate, get the skill, get the strap metal combinations one and done, right? Your eyes will be open to the underdog that is DX Army HBK. So that's what I'm saying. But also, to move on from that, there's a couple candidates here. We're going to go from the underdog of the Acrobat class this year to the top dog, or should I say the top dragon. Acrobat legend Ricky Steamboat. Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, fire breather, god tier. There's no way around it. He is the best acrobat in the game. From my perspective, quick charge, heavy duty damage, gives you everything you want. Hits you hard enough that you probably ain't getting back up. Hits you hard enough that a powerhouse probably ain't kicking out. That is Ricky. He's been in the game for years. We've seen the pictures for him. He's been, teased multiple times over. But he's finally in the game. It was worth the wait. And I feel there isn't no argument or debate about it. This guy is a guy with perks involved. He's taken to another level. You put straps, medals, and skill plate on him, it's a whole other story. Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, for many, come on, man. Some people, when you ask them their favorite WrestleMania match, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat versus Randy Savage. Intercontinental title. Come on now. This is the guy. The ultimate babyface. Rey Mysterio's up there too. But the ultimate babyface that many loved and never hated. He got his due in this game. And him being the god tier acrobat, I can't argue it. I can't argue it. If you want to argue it, that's cool. I got nothing against it. Because you know what? Mega superstars are built in a way for you to invest your disposable income the same way Chase superstars are built in a sense for you to go all in and grind hard to walk away with them as a trophy. And the same way free-to-play units are built a certain way so you are willing to invest in them for an entire month because the ends meet a mean that is necessary and beneficial to you. Every single character has their role one way or the other. And in my opinion, this is the king. This is the king of the acrobats. And that's just me. You can argue otherwise. But there is another acrobat that did just show up to show us what's up. And that's modern era acrobat R-Truth, the truth. Snowball gem mechanic, innovative as heck. Can turn entire columns into a certain color, can turn them into a certain type of specialty gem. Teaming him up with Carmella, that plus to their purple moveset builds. And obviously you can run Carmella triple purple. And R-Truth gets it down and dirty with the double purple blue snowfall. Guy's a problem. Fast, quick charge. Again, another character. He might not be turn 1 or turn 2, but he's going to get it done by turn 3, turn 4. There's certain people that you just got to look at it like, hey, yo, he's an asset. He's going to be beneficial to my roster. And on top of that, something that I say from time to time, and I've said it throughout this video from time to time, if not, I'm going to reinstate it now. Sometimes it's not always about turn oneing somebody. Sometimes it's not always about dragging out a match forever and a day. Sometimes it's about having fun. And R-Truth is fun. R-Truth is just a fun character to use. And I mean, you could say I feel he's up in that upper pantheon of acrobats. There's a lot of them. And again, this is a game where you don't really have a cutthroat, clear notion of who is the king and queen of different classes. And then it can get into a bigger debate of like, okay, who's the best of each class? Who's the best of each era? Who's the best of each subcategory? Who's the best trainer? Who are the best coaches? There's a lot of debates that can come from WWE champions because unlike other games, there's multiples. There's different characters that cover things. Might not be God tier in feuds, but they're God tier in Showdown. Might not be God tier in Showdown, but they're great for blitzes. Might not be God tier in any of those three other things, but when it comes to daily content clearing, they're amazing. They're going to get the job done for you. So, it's Champions is one of those games. Again, you throw perks and stuff in. You throw straps and medals and skill plates in. The conversation is going to continue to change and evolve as we keep on playing the game. But for me, I felt HBK DX Army HBK, underdog of the Acrobats this year. Ricky the Dragon Steamboat Fire Breather, the king of the Acrobats this year. And then for R-Truth is just hands down one of the funnest acrobats of the year. Brings in a brand new specialty gem mechanic. Great tag link with Carmella, a busted free-to-play MLC unit. And he's just going to deal some crazy, insane damage. There's just no way around it. This guy's going to be a problem. The only downside about him that many have stated is that you have to use, the X-Pac method. What's the X-Pac method? You got to run two MP trainers on it, Woods and Lawler. But if you look at him, he's kind of worth it. And you got to think, okay, he's using up 2. But usually, depending on how you play, depending on how you go about things, there's different ways to run your feud squads. There's different ways to run your showdown teams. So it's always, okay, you're down 2 of the 6 characters you would implement. That means you still got 4 other MP trainers and coaches that can be utilized to help you get the dub, and you're still going to be Gucci. So, R-Truth to me, hands down, one of the best acrobats to come into the game, as well as an introduction to a brand new specialty gem format. So, he had to be included on this list. But now, we move on. Oh, there we go. We move on to Keith Lee. It's time to bask in his glory, for he is limitless. One of the best, if not the best powerhouse in the game. Powerhouses have gotten flooded. Pardon me. They've gotten flooded with the content that we have now. You got a lot of heavy-hitting powerhouses. I mentioned Immortal Hogan. I would have included him here, but no, there's no point because he's an older unit anyway. But Keith Lee's the god, man. Keith Lee's one of those NXT representatives. The way they did Keith Lee is the way that I felt they should have done Adam Cole. That's the best way to put it. I felt that there were a lot of NXT characters that were released this year that should have been handled a certain type of way, so you had the top-notch units of each specific class representing that subcategory, because the NXT subcategory is a limited one in number, but they do got some shotters. They got some heavy hitters, and Keith Lee, for sure. I mean, look, man, turn 1 million plus damage. Even if you reduce the damage that you go up against, this is a guy that can just walk in and demolish you. Just demolish you. There's no way around it. It's going to hurt. It's going to hurt, and a lot of people are going to die. A lot of people are going to die. And I'm also going to mention this, too, because I didn't delete the one screenshot of R-Truth. If you're worried about my IGC and my coins, it's already changed already. So I'm just saying that out there right now. Hackers, to each his own, man. But my stuff's already changed. So I wouldn't be doing the video if... You know what I'm saying? I'm just throwing that out there because I know how people are. A lot of people in this game rather do stuff the cheap way instead of putting in the work. I've put in the work for a long time and I've been doing many videos. It is what it is. You get a glimpse of what I got. To each his own, bro. That should be goals for you to achieve. But powerhouses, the king, in my opinion, off of moves alone, is Keith Lee. And I also want to say this too. I got a feeling that Keith Lee, I mentioned the stipulation tours earlier, I got a feeling Keith Lee's going to play a pivotal role in that type of content. I've got a huge feeling. If you pull Keith Lee, get him to 5-star bronze ASAP. There's no way around it. Watching Big Papa Brian, holla if you hear me, clear content with him, it's just amazing. It's just amazing. Because you will have no choice but to bask in his glory. He's a good, solid champion. And no lie, I actually look forward to seeing who comes next. I really look forward to seeing who comes next in the powerhouses. Because the powerhouse class got a huge makeover, man. And Keith Lee was a guy that was definitely pointing them in the right direction. And again, you got your Hulk Hogan. Showdowns nowadays, of course, you dread it. Even limited time tours on the Royal Rumble, going up against Mr. T and Hogan. It's a nightmare and a half. But this is a guy right here that can turn 1 million plus damage. Let alone with everything now, with the metals being worked over, we'll see what happens. Because I think he can even hit even harder than that when it's all said and done. You think you put Keith Lee up against a acrobat, you already know that's a boost to your damage. This is one of those few guys that can literally take out any class. Strikers can hit some crazy gem damage. They're not kicking out of 1 million. But this is before we see any 5-star silver Keith Lees roaming around. Health is doubling up. The new metals are starting to get worked over. You know, your move metals. We gotta see how everything falls. But I still get a feeling that even then, Keith Lee's still gonna be putting up some damage. And there is a chance, there is a solid chance, that there could be some 5-star silver opponents out there that could possibly kick out of his 1 million plus damage. But at the same time, I mean, he cycles over and everything anyway. So 2 turns for Keith Lee. I know it sounds sacrilegious, but it ain't the end of the world either. Unless they're coming back and hitting him with a Kamehameha wave or something. Like, I don't see it happening. So literally, even if he doesn't get it done on turn 1, depending on how the board looks, he's getting it done on turn 2. So it's kind of one of those situations where he's just the king. He's the king of the powerhouses. But there are some others. Some others that give him a run for his money in a different way. So we go from one powerhouse king to, oh yeah, the Macho Man, modern era powerhouse, Randy Savage, master of Macho Madness. Now, we go from one guy who gets in your booty one way to another guy that just plays some crazy mind games with you. Dude can bleed you out. Dude can set you up for a low-level pin so you're not kicking out. Can deal some crazy, insane damage. And he's pretty fast. He also got a submission, too. Randy Savage got his due, man. They gave him his flowers, man. There's no way around it. In my mind, now that I think about it, Randy Savage is one of the few characters who has multiple variations in the game. And one way or the other, each one of them can be dangerous. Each one of his variations can be dangerous. From Showboat to Acrobat to Powerhouse to Trickster. All 4, man, I can't even count. All 4 do their job. But this one is, in my opinion, the best of them. The best of them. There's no way around it. Masters of the WWE Universe released a lot of solid characters, and WWE reached out. For those of you who don't know how certain things work in Champions, you know, they got to go through the mill, but basically everything gets the go from WWE. And WWE made sure that Champions released an MLC to show love to the Masters of the WWE Universe, because it was a line of action figures that they wanted out. The same way that we got the zombies initially before they started doing the original characters. Okay? So they wanted to make sure that all of the Masters of the WWE Universe characters that we got All 6 of them, all of them were represented properly, and all of them were made broken units. And Randy is one of them. All 6 of them hit. All 6 of them cover all the classes, and they all hit hard. And they all got the over-the-top animations, but they do justice to the wrestler that they represent. And Randy is up there with Keith Lee. I'm going to be that guy that says it. I really feel like, I mean, when you put up a debate for powerhouses now, Keith Lee, Randy Savage, Earthquake, Walter, Hulk Hogan, you can throw all those guys in a hat, and I don't think a lot of people are going to have an argument with that at all. I really don't think they're going to have it's just preference. It falls upon who you have on your roster. And I'm not taking away from guys like Bam Bam, who has become a hoss at 5-star. He deserved it. There's no argument that Bam Bam deserved that type of love, man. No argument. One of the greatest big men ever. And the same with Goldberg. People sleep on Goldberg too. But if you got Goldberg's gear, you got Akam, you got Big John Studd, both at 9K, the gear, Goldberg is a solid option too. But when it comes to the dominance, pure dominance of powerhouses right now, you can't mention Keith Lee without throwing in Randy Savage. But there's also another character in there too. I didn't mention him, but he is a sleeper. He's a guy that I had to, just like Lana, I had to eat my words on it because I wasn't too confident about him at first. I liked the gameplay, but I wasn't sure of him. So we move on from Randy Savage to modern era powerhouse Daniel Bryan, the Planet's champion, the Planet Zombie. The no epithet. Okay? The Rising Dragon epithet. And then we settled on the Planet Zombie. This is another zombie next to Triple H, and another character we'll get to soon. You need to get him. Move damage, nasty. What he's able to implement with his moves and builds, insane. His coaching ability, a problem. A problem for some unique niche health steal situations. This was the sleeper of the powerhouses. And I can't lie. Daniel Bryan is a character who deserves his roses too. He deserves his roses. He deserves his flowers. It's been so long since we've had another solid Daniel Bryan. I mean, Acrobat Daniel Bryan, one of the first cash deal offer characters in the game. Then you get the Planet's champion Trickster. People slap on him, but look, man, you know how to run those trap jams. Trickster Bryan can get it done. He can be a bad boy. But then we got an original zombie character in Daniel Bryan. And at first, like I said, when I first saw the gameplay, I was like, okay, solid. But I just can't put my stamp of approval on him just yet. But then again, you start getting in conversations with people. You start hearing it out, and then you go back to watch the gameplay from the broskies. And then you realize, yeah, Zombie Bryan's the nasty, man. Zombie Bryan is a guy that you need on your account. I get it. Cheat code Zombie Austin. But there's another zombie powerhouse now, and he's going to be wreaking havoc for a mighty long time. And that's the cool thing about the meta. The meta always changes, right? We always see brand new characters that get introduced to the game. So some get dethroned, some get added. But this is another guy that gets added to that top tier conversation. He is up there, in my opinion, with Randy Savage and Keith Lee. He has the right to rub shoulders with a geared up Earthquake or a Hulk Hogan. And I don't see nobody really arguing with it. He's like, there's certain characters that I've mentioned on this list that are underdogs. At first, initially, you don't think of them as a top tier unit. But then you see them get played, and then you see how they work when you go up against them, and then you get a new notion of respect for him. And that's what happened for me with Daniel Bryan. Initially, I was on board, but I wasn't like, oh, he isn't be all broken. Then I started seeing gameplay, then I started going up against him, and I realized, yeah, this boy's nasty. This boy's nasty. So, Daniel Bryan, another solid powerhouse when it's all said and done. And then we move on to 1, 2, 3, Kid, that is. Nugent Showboat, the underdog hero. Now, this one is easy. Y'all should know how I feel about the 1, 2, 3 Kid after the videos I have done to praise him, okay? The Protect Gem damage, asinine. Then to have a finisher that increases the Protect Gem boost of... one of the best defensive units in the game. One of the best defensive units that can be offensive at the same time. You're not really kicking out of this guy's pins, man. You're done, son. You're done, son. Quick charge moves to spam Protect Gems all over the board. Solid ways to swap areas, to cycle move colors. Incredible trainer and coaching ability. And only has one link. New Gen. I thought he would have gotten the click link. I thought we would have finally got that. But he's one of those guys just like a 3-star Brock Lesnar next big thing. He does enough that he only needs one link. He doesn't need anything else. You get him running, Jesus. I think about this too, man. 1, 2, 3 Kid and Fandango and a tag team. Jeez, man. I can't even whistle right because he got me that messed up. Like, literally, look, you can go and see the gameplay and you know what I'm talking about. No one is kicking out of his pins, man. And if they do, it's going to be a close call. It is genuinely going to be a last shot, okay? This is going to be another level of defensive gameplay. And that's the one thing I've liked about the Mega Superstars that have been launched throughout this year, man. You've seen a perfect blend of offensive monsters and defensive monsters. You've gotten some people that are turn 1, turn 2 killers, and then you got others that make you wish that it ended in turn 1 or turn 2 because you are going to suffer. You are going to feel the pain. And this is a guy that you're going to be happy that the match ends sooner rather than later. Because the more Protect Gems he puts down, it becomes more and more clear that that match has become Mission Impossible. Mission Impossible. He's deadly. This is one of those guys that I look at and I'm like, he doesn't even really need perks. He's going to still get the job done. He's still going to body you. Even without perks, this guy would be a threat. He would be a threat. And I'm glad that he got his due. I'm still shook at the fact that he wasn't an acrobat, but you know what? I feel that, like I said, technicians, showboats, tricksters, they all need love. They all need love. They need respect put on their names. And this guy was a solid option and a solid choice. But then there's another guy. He's not a good guy. He's not a bad guy. He's just the guy. Modern era showboat, zombie Roman Reigns. This is my graveyard. I have to say right now, this guy, you see, my videos say it all. The greatest showboat that never was. He was so broken that they had to go back and nerf him. And even after they nerfed him, looking at the gameplay that followed afterwards, he's still a problem. It's easy to interchange Zombie Reigns and 1, 2, 3 Kid. What they're able to do is incredible. His reversal move, crazy. His Protect Gems, insane in the membrane. What things he's able to do to health, immaculate. Another zombie alongside Triple H and Daniel Bryan that are worth your disposable income. If you got Zombie Reigns and 1, 2, 3 Kid on your roster at the same time, get them the 5-star bronze immediately. they're just that good that they'll carry you in multitudes of content, especially since with faction feuds and stuff, they've gotten very lenient on leaving that open option, that open slot for you to put whoever. Zombie Reigns will carry you. And being a showboat with that health, I want to see a Zombie Reigns at 5-star silver. I know I'm going to have nightmares after I see it, but I want to see it because with the doubling of health, you got certain champions now rocking 1 million HP. These are Titan Blitz numbers of health, man. 1, 2, 3 Kid or Zombie Reigns on your squad. You ain't got no problems, cuz. You ain't got no problems. So, I mean, those are 2 solid additions to a class that I feel needs love. But we still need more. And there's a lot of charismatic characters. A charismatic enigma that could possibly be the resolution of that. But what do I know, right? What do I know? Let's just get the rumor mill stirring, you know what I'm saying? And kudos to y'all who've been rocking with me. But we are nearing the end. We are nearing the end. So from 1, 2, 3 Kid to Zombie Reigns, it's on to the next one. And this time, it's about the APA. Bam, 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 bam. Attitude Era Striker. Farouk. Acolytes Protection Agency. Look, man. In my opinion, Farouk, all I can say when I see his gameplay is, damn! Because he's just that good. He's got a crazy, insane trainer and coaching ability that helps out with MP. He hits hard. He can cycle pretty solid for a striker. Yeah, he isn't, I don't see him being like a turn 1, turn 2 guy, but he's going to hit you hard. You're going to feel it. He's going to be able to cycle. He's going to be able to deal some crazy damage. And he's one of those few guys that I come across where I'm glad they had him as an option in the Regalia chest. Because the cool thing about a lot of the characters that were offered within the Regalia chest is, pardon me, the cool thing that we had about the characters from the Regalia chest is not only were they top tier waifus and husbandos, but they all came with essential roster and account changing trainer and coaching abilities. And having a dual MP trainer or coach on your side like Farouk was definitely a solid asset to many. So a lot of people walked away with it. A lot of people were dreading getting X-Pac. Handful did. And the cool thing was the handful that got X-Pac were people that actually didn't have X-Pac. Same went with Amber Moon. But others, they actually got lucky. We saw some people pull some Hulk Hogan's. We saw some people pull my boo, Kairi Sane. And then we saw a lot of people walking away with the boy Farouk. Farouk definitely is a guy that deserved to be a top tier unit. And in my opinion, he can be in that conversation for top-notch strikers. But I am also going to be that guy that also states this too. I'm also going to state this too. We got APA Farouk. So we need an APA Bradshaw. We need an APA Bradshaw who needs to be a striker. I know people don't like strikers, but they were brawlers. So it only makes sense for them to be brawlers. Don't make another APA John Bradshaw that's a trickster. No. You save that. You save John Bradshaw Layfield for ruthless aggression trickster wrestling god. That's what you do. But for a Bradshaw here, you got to make him a striker. You got to make him a striker, and you got to implement some type of MP boost to these guys, or some new innovative tag link. We need to start getting more creative with tag links, because tag links are kind of easy and, minimalistic. Either gem destruction, gem generation, MP from just off a gem connect or something, or right out of the gate. There's only a handful of things you can really do. There are going to be some niche ones that are very crucial that I will discuss shortly, but we need to improve how all tag links work. But following Farouk, though, I rule the world. Attitude Era Striker, Psycho Sid Vicious, the master and ruler of the world. Slow. He's slow. But that doesn't take away from how dominant this guy is. This guy is a monster. This guy is a problem. And this guy is one of the people that I will be hunting in 2021 because I love Sid. I love Sid. A lot of people don't like, look, he served his purpose. A lot of these characters I'm covering, I've talked about in depth in past videos, man. Just check the catalog, check the library, okay? Sid is one of those guys. He served his purpose. He wasn't supposed to be this flamboyant guy like Shawn Michaels. He isn't the most charismatic guy. He doesn't cut the best promos, but he is just a threat. He is a guy that when you look at him, you're like, I don't want the smoke. I don't want the smoke. This is kind of a guy I put to you like this. If you put Sid up against Brock Lesnar, looking at how those two dudes were, it's one of the few guys that you could put a pair up against like someone like Goldberg or Brock, right? Legitimate looking guys that you can look at and be like, I think Brock might lose this one. I think the streak might end tonight. I think that's what's going to happen. And no lie, there's no way around it. He was stiff, but he hit hard. And him being a striker makes all the sense in the world. So it's kind of one of those things like, he's a fan favorite of mine. I grew up not knowing about him until later on. And I know there are some issues with the Horsemen and everything. That's another story for another time. Go and look it up. But Sid in my mind with the power gems, with the bleed, the choose move, with being able to convert the power gems and the blast gems, being able to blow up the board. He's just a monster. He's a monster. Solid trainer and coaching ability. Solid links. But overall, this is one of those guys that stands on his own. He's a threat. He's a threat. And it's one of those things like, he's one of those dudes. He might not start out right out of the gate going heavy, but once he starts getting the rolling, it's going to be a problem. This is one of those guys you want to end early because the longer the match goes on, he's going to start turning around in his favor, man. And it says something when he has a skill plate dedicated to him. So just throwing that out there, you know what I'm saying? Like, dude's nasty. Dude's nasty. He isn't one of these be-all, end-all choose move guys like a lot of players. He doesn't got no crazy gem mechanic, but he has a unique, spontaneous, eccentric build that you wouldn't usually see. I mean, come on now, like blast gems and power gems and bleeds and choose moves. You don't see a lot of people built like that, and that adds to the mystique. Because Sid was unpredictable. 1 minute he's on your side, the next minute he's giving you a powerbomb. So it made sense. I like certain characters when they design them to kind of pay homage to the wrestler themselves, one way or the other. And with how unpredictable Sid was in real life, it makes sense when you see him being unpredictable with his movesets and builds. So definitely had to be on my list as one of the favorites. He's easily somebody I can feel that people can argue like, well, Zeke 410, he should not be here with the likes of such and such. Hey, that's the point of a list. Everyone's list is going to be different, right? So he's one of those guys that I feel he's an underdog because he's slow and because of how everyone's about speed and efficiency and everything in the game. You would look him over. But if you take the time to play him and understand him and respect what he brings to the table, turns things on to another level. But the hits keep on rolling and we're nearing the end. So let's go. Everyone has a price. Hands down, one of the funnest units to come out this year. No way around it, okay? We had NWO Giant, we had NWO 2K Brett, and then we got NWO DiBiase, Ted DiBiase, Attitude Era Striker, NWO. Pin bar don't move, cycles all doggone day. You throw on the right skill plate, throw on some Furies or some armor, guy is knocking you out like a light, man. He's fun. He is a fun unit. The cool thing about Ted DiBiase is look, being a guy who has a 4-star gold Vince McMahon, going to 5-star bronze in the future, right? Looking at what these dudes can do, when you got looking at what Tech Ted can do with Vince on him, and looking at what Striker Ted can do when he's got the proper setup for his trainers and coaches, right? Both Teds are enjoyable to use. There's no way around it. With Tech Ted, for example, you got Vince on him. I like to run him with Vince and IRS because that loot gem damage, causing us a wild card though, with the additional gems from IRS. Yeah, I could put Woods, I could put Bray on him at 4-star, I get it. But the damage that can be done when you play Tech Ted right is out of sight. And when it comes to Striker Ted, not moving that pin bar, but being able to cycle over and over and over, you can't knock it. A pin bar guy is a top tier guy for the simple fact, no easy pins, no mistakes. Just like the zombie Triple H, you're not messing up here. And I believe Powerhouse Randy also has that same situation too. So does Hollywood Hogan and Powerhouse Hogan. Pin bar move guys are good because you're able to wreak havoc and not worry about an early pin. You're able to deal enough damage that the second time around, it's probably going to be over. So with Ted's a guy that, yeah, he has that benefit of being a no pin bar move guy. But on the other side of things, he's fun. He's a fun cycler, hits hard, doesn't move the pin bar. You're just going to have fun using him. And that's why he's another guy that's on my list of characters that you might want to go after in 2021. Because anybody who can use a skip turn, anyone that can improve their own gem damage or nullify the opponent's gem damage, anyone that can get their moves off quick to cause some detrimental destruction and chaos. Characters like that can be utilized for tier lists for one reason or the other, but a lot of times those characters are fun to use. They're not boring. They're not boring. And I'm not against characters, like I said, like Slick Rick. I'm a huge fan of Slick. I'm probably going to take him up to 5-star bronze alongside Fandango. But it's one of those things, just like a character who, if you take the time out to understand their gameplay and you're not thinking about tier lists, you just know, hey, he might not run like 1, 2, 3 Kid or Zombie Reigns. He's going to get the job done. The same thing goes here with Ted DiBiase. He might not be a zombie Triple H. Okay? There's no way around it. He might not be an Apex Predator Randy or a Showstopper Shawn. But once you know how to use Ted, Ted is going to leave a lot of people dead when it's all said and done. And plus, with the links that he's been provided, he's going to be an asset one way or the other. From level 1 to fully maxed out, he is going to benefit your roster. He brings quality to your roster. So that's why he's on my list. But now it's on to the next one. Ah, my beloved waifu. My beloved waifu. A lot of you might be shocked about this because I talk so much about my bae, Kairi Sane, but I've always had a thing for him. Foreign desserts. And Asuka hits the spot, man. Whether dead or undead, you know what I'm saying? Or alive, it don't matter. Zaska was a fun unit. Fun unit. I'm bummed that I didn't get her, but I will. I'm already halfway there. I'm going in. Another zombie unit. That's what I'm saying. Spring Outbreak, they are not fools. They know what they're doing with Spring Outbreak for 1 or 2 weeks with the banners that are available. Zombie Triple H is going to be there. Zombie Reigns is going to be there. Zombie Bryan and Zaska. They are going to be there. And there's going to be another zombie there too that we're about to cover. But Zaska's fun, man. Zaska's definitely fun with the builds that you're able to use for her. Zombies don't really have be-all, end-all tag links, but they're more than enough to get the job done that benefit them health-wise. And depending on the right zombie you have tagged up, it's going to be essential. Like I said, Zombie Reigns, Showboats, big pool of health, mixed match situation, Zaska and Reigns, that's going to be more additional health to a top-tier Showboat. She's a striker. Another solid addition to the waifus, because you only got a handful of women champions in the game. There's no denying that. There's only a handful of them, whether live or undead, okay? So Zaska being in the game definitely benefits a lot of accounts. So having her in the game as a representative of not only the waifus, but also the zombies, and a brand new striker as a female, I can get down with it. I can definitely get down with it. But she's not alone, though. She's not alone. Because from one waifu, from the undead, to another, rest in paradise, my goddess. Attitude Era Striker, Chyna. I can't get over this, but I gotta go back and show my respect because I didn't probably say it. Modern era Striker, Asuka, the Empress of yesterday. Definitely someone you should invest in. But moving on to Attitude Era Striker, Chyna, DX Army. The D-Generation X clique, the tag link, has expanded even further. A multiply gem wielding SOB in Chyna. Makes sense. Chyna is one of the few characters in the game, one of the few wrestlers, where they have hit it on the button when it pertains to her movesets, her links, and the classes she represents. A powerhouse ninth wonder of the world, and a striker DX Army. She is a problem. She's a fast cycler. She's got multiple builds and moves that are going to be a problem for many. And she's just fun. Her aesthetically, she's top notch. She's another solid waifu representing the striker class. She's a great addition to the era of Attitude. She's a great unit for the DX subcategory. I mean, let's be realistic. NXT and DX, those are some solid categories because there's a lot of free-to-play, chase, and pay-to-play options there. So Chyna being a striker, just like beforehand being a powerhouse, it makes sense to her character. The movesets that she does, they're quick moves, so you're able to get them off. She hits hard. She's able to cycle one way or the other. She's a deadly option and asset for different types of tag team action. So I couldn't leave her out of here. You've seen Mega Superstar-wise, a lot of strikers on here. But it's understandable. Strikers are one of the most favorite classes in the entire game. As much as people like to say that they're sick and tired of them, they're one of the go-tos when it comes to a lot of content. And seeing DX Chyna come into the game was definitely a blessing. And I'm happy that we came across her and got her when we did. She's definitely someone that we got multiple opportunities of getting charged for her. So she was kind of one of those characters that, yeah, she was a pay-to-play option. There were many opportunities during and after her launch to walk away with more shards of her to get you closer to recruiting her. So I do hope we see that kind of mechanic implemented moving forward in 2021. Having the initial launch of a champion, but then having other ways to collect their shards throughout different MLCs so you can walk away with a character that you really like. Because Chyna is definitely someone that I like and I'm a favorite. I definitely highly favor her movesets and her builds and the way that she can be ran with the other DX Army representatives. And their links are pretty cool. You know, you got DX, D-Generation X, and DX Army. So you got 3 different links that work within this set clique of people. And all of them are like no pushovers. Like even a guy like Rick Rude, once you get him up to like 4-star or even 5-star, he's a threat. He's a threat. And being a guy that you can get a free-to-play fuse to 4-star with, that's definitely going to be something that's essential. Again, Road Dogg was a free-to-play champion. Then you got DX, HBK, you know. You got him, you got X-Pac. You got multiple DX reps in the game now. So Chyna being another waifu representative is staying true to their lore. And to have her be top-notch just like she was as a powerhouse, but now as a striker, it was poetic justice. So rest in paradise, my girl. But definitely a solid asset in addition in WWE Champions 2020. But now we move to the text. And this one was a surprise I did not expect, y'all. Black Friday, the first ever 5-star bronze champion featured in the game. Dun, 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 dun. John Cena sucks. Ruthless aggression technician, John Cena veteran salute. God tier. Broken. A submission that turns into a choose move. I want y'all to think about that. A submission that turns into a choose move, allowing you to cycle your moves. Spamming the board with silence gems. Doing crazy, insane damage because of those silence gems. Making you bleed. The guy's a problem. This guy is a great option for faction feuds. He can clear daily content left and right, blitzes, even in Showdown. I feel that Showdown with the right perks and everything, he's going to be killer. But I feel he's a dominant force to be reckoned with inside Faction Feuds. If that's just me personally. In my opinion, God tier tech. There's no arguing that. He's just broken. He's broken. And just like 1-2-3 Kid, who implemented the whole pin mechanic where it increased the stats of his protect gems, like R-Truth, who introduced the snowfall gem mechanic, Tech Cena introduced the whole choose move sub. So you could literally cycle his moves, put someone in a submission, and cycle your build. So once the submission ended, your opponent's drained of their MP, and then you can go right back at it, reaping havoc. He's deadly. He's dangerous. And to think that he was released initially as a 5-star bronze. And then with the vault, if you were able to get everybody to basically donate $30 to put forth towards the cause, getting the offers off the portal and everything. If you were able to get everyone on the same page in your faction, let alone having your whales step in and go balls deep, if you were able to max out that vault, everyone walked away with him guaranteed at 4-star. So this is a guy that you're going to see a lot of him, depending on what faction you're in. You got lucky with him. Kudos to you. And if you got lucky, like my fan Mamu Mami, who pulled him at 5-star bronze, saves you a lot of tokens. Saves you a lot of tokens. Guy that should be maxed out ASAP. Worth the investment. Don't look back. He is a monster of a problem. However, where I say Tech Cena dominates feuds, there's someone else that is his counterpart. And I would be a fool not to mention this man. Attitude Era Technician, Mankind, Mr. Socko. Bang, bang! Have a nice day. Able to cycle without usually causing a early pin. Can bleed you to death. Has a finisher that loads the board up with botch gems. They did him right, man. They did him right. They upgraded. We should have known something was coming. They upgraded all the faces of Mick Foley. From Mankind Showboat to Dude Love to Cactus Jack. All increasing the amount of gems and stuff they're able to create or destroy, etc. And he got a rework to a tag link. You see, putting Mr. Socko with Great One Rock is a unique tag link because it amplifies the amount of bleed damage that they're able to do. Both of those champions use bleed moves. And if played wisely, you can stack the bleed. But even if you're not able to stack the bleed, having 15k additional bleed damage added to those turns is an essential asset that can help you finish a lot of matches quick and easy. And he's a low charge guy. So another God tier tech. I have to say it. Mankind, Mr. Socko, Veteran Salute Cena, they have to be in the debate for best technicians. But they aren't alone. They aren't alone. Now, I am a guy who has admired John Cena for some time. I have always loved the work of Mick Foley. One of my favorite wrestlers from the Attitude Era. And everything that he brought. Basically, they used to say, if you can work a match with Mankind, if you can work a match with Mick Foley, then you were ready for the main stage in WWE/WWF. But there is somebody who brought controversy because of how he was released, but there's no denying that he is a top tier tech. Modern Era Technician Johnny Gargano, Johnny Wrestling. Now, this is a guy that, got me in some trouble back in the day because of how I felt about how Champions of Scopely went about his initial launch and release. But one thing that cannot be taken away is that Johnny Wrestling is one of those sleeper agents. One of those guys that is just that damn good that I could not leave him off the list. He's just that good. He's quick. He's able to deal some crazy damage. He's a monster. he is a monster. His tag link with Tommaso Ciampa. I would have included Ciampa on here because Ciampa, I'm a fan of Blackheart. And I feel he is a guy that should be taking the 4-star gold, 5-star bronze as well. But I just feel, personally, favoritism aside, I feel that Johnny has the edge. I truly do. And I had to put him here. Just like I mentioned Masters of the WWE Universe Taker. I love Taker. Taker's one of my guys. I'm honestly considering taking him up to 5-star bronze. But at the end of the day, I have to sit back and think about certain characters. Taker is a good tech. The same way Ciampa is a good tech. But I don't think that Taker and Ciampa pale in comparison to Gargano, Sacco, and Texina. So, that's just me personally. But all those guys, I have to mention them because they're worth mentioning. All of them are great technicians. All of them were released in 2020. But these three are the holy trinity of techs. Techs have been getting a solid look, solid love. And they've proven their worth. With each time they've released a technician, they've gotten better and better and better. That's what I want to see for Showboats. And that's what I want to see for Tricksters. And I believe next up are the Trickster Mega Superstars that were the be-all, end-all of 2020. And then we will be done. So, moving on from Johnny Wrestling, we move on to modern era Trickster, Aleister Black. Fade to black. The first trial champion, y'all. The first trial champion. And a god of utility. As well as versatility. This guy can bleed you. This guy can hit you with spam gems on the board. He can hit you with a sub. He can just wreak havoc one way or the other. He doesn't need a tag link. He is self-efficient. He is a monster of a problem. If you were able to get him, you were lucky. And if you're looking for him, Spring Outbreak. Just think about it. Just think about it. Spring Outbreak is one of the best times to pull for characters. Yeah, they're zombies. The same way some people don't like Hall of Fame units, the same way some people don't like the Master of the Universe action figures, same way people don't like and care for zombies. But one thing that can't be taken away from the fact is, all three of those subcategories of champions are all worth their bang at the end of the day. Some are a hit, some are a hit, some are a miss. But the ones I've mentioned in this video, Zaska, Aleister Black, Zombie Reigns, Zombie Bryan, Zombie Triple H, all of them will more than likely be on a Mega Superstar Loop banner in 2021. And Aleister Black is a guy that I feel is a god of utility. He's just that good. And versatility-wise, he's just crazy with the different types of movesets and builds you can run. He's got different ways to kill you, man. That's the thing that gets me. He is dangerous. Silence gems, submission, bleed, quick charge moves, multiple ways to be ran. So he doesn't take away from your roster. Aleister is a problem, man. He's just a problem. He's able to heal himself. He's just deadly, man. Like, there's literally certain characters, like I said, I could go truly in depth and end up becoming on the path of convoluted, or I can just get right to the point. He's versatile. He brings utility because you can use him in any format of gameplay content. You can use him in showdowns. You can use him in blitzes. You can use him in limited time tour, daily tour clears. You can use him in faction feuds. He has a moveset in a build that will benefit you in any of that type of content. This is another guy who I feel, similar to Keith Lee and others I mentioned earlier, he is going to play a role with these upcoming stipulation tours because he just brings that much to the table. So that's what I got to say about him. If he's not a god tier trickster in the sense of OP damage and everything, he's god tier for utility. Because a lot of people forget about utility within this game. A lot of people forget that there's certain characters that are top tier because of the way you can run them for different things. He has an answer for any type of moveset of an opponent, and he's able to take care of you in different types of content. Does that mean he's going to get the 3-star in every match? No. but he has a high chance of doing so. So that is why he is here. Moving on from Aleister Black, a guy who definitely is in the top 3 of the tricksters, okay? Big E, modern era trickster, the many faces of positivity. Another Masters of the WWE Universe champion, a champion that a lot of us actually had a chance to get free, depending on how things went with your blitz runs and everything, and if you had the proper superstars to get things done, you could have walked away with this guy absolutely free. You throw his gear, without his gears, he's a monster. You throw in his 2 gears, his Kofi and Xavier Woods gear, he's a problem. He hits hard. A guy that you go all armor in, move damage out the wazoo, and now that the move metals have been upgraded and updated, he is in another category himself. I know a lot of you might be shocked. Why isn't Hollywood Hogan here? Thing is, for me, is some people, Hogan is a guy that's going to be chucked in everyone's conversation. I wanted to go with characters that, yes, some of them you might notice and think, oh yeah, that makes sense. And the phone rings again. But at the other side of things, I wanted to go with characters that you might overlook, characters you might think about, and you might not, might be like, well, I'm on the middle of the fence with it. Big E is a guy that, in my mind and in my opinion, with how he does things, the move damage he's able to do. Another guy, pin bar doesn't move, and able to cycle like crazy. He's basically walking out of a lot of his matches without any health really being lost. So Big E had to be here. He just had to. The Masters of the WWE Universe champions, they were built different. They were meant to stand out among all the classes, their respective classes. You could easily say that each one of the Masters of the WWE Universe champions all properly sit atop the mountain somewhere when it comes to each respective class. And that could be truly stated. Even Masters of the WWE Universe Ultimate Warrior is a slap-on showboat. So that's just the way to look at it. When it comes to those champions, from Triple H to Randy Savage to Warrior to Cena to Taker to Big E, all 6 of the Masters of the WWE Universe champions are top tier units in their own right. But I had to include Big E here because he's just a monster, man. He's a true problem. He's one of those guys that can take on anybody, and he's probably going to walk out with the W one way or the other. Able to cycle, able to deal insane damage, able to just be fun to utilize. He's a great champion that I've never really heard any bad, negative notions toward him. So we had to include him here. Following that, though, my guy, New Gen Trickster, Triple H, Hunter Hearst Helmsley, Connecticut Blue Blood. This guy's on here for one specific reason alone. Because I mention it all the time. Characters that are genuinely fun. Multiple ways to run this guy. He can blow up the board. He can cycle. He's got a submission that leads to an offensive onslaught. He is able to swap an area so he can get his moves to cycle again. He's got low charge moves. He is another character that is a solid addition to a class that's limited when it comes to the amount of representatives. The New Gen era category, in my opinion, is one of the smallest categories, but it's also one of the most OP categories. You think about the characters that represent New Gen, from Triple H, 1, 2, 3 Kid, Vader, okay? You got a lot of top-notch units in there. Razor Ramon, an underdog like the British Bulldog, all right? Doink the Clown, the excellence of execution Bret Hart, Bam Bam Bigelow. There are a lot of top-tier units within the New Gen era category. They might be small, but a lot of them are hitting hard, man. So having another addition to them in a Trickster representative made sense. It makes sense, and he's just fun, man. It isn't always about a character being on this list because they're god tier. They're fun. Triple H, to me, is a fun unit. He's a guy that can clear a lot of content for you. He might not be a one-turn guy in feuds and stuff, but he's a guy that, due to how he blows up the board, depending on the partner you have in Showdown, he's going to get their moves taken care of and set up while he's loading up his own. He's a character that's going to be able to keep others at bay with that submission, like I mentioned. Like, literally, you get him to put a submission down before you tag in another partner in the Showdown and have them use a choose move to blow up the board even further, gets them off to a solid, great start. And again, the colors that he covers are just going to help out a lot of people. Triple H is definitely a guy that I had a feeling they were going to do another variation of him, and I'm glad that he did it like this. I still feel like Cerebral Assassin Triple H would have made sense to be in here, but at the same time, this was a solid representative of Triple H. It's the final of class that he covers, and he's worth it. He's definitely a guy that if you got him on your account, you lucked out. He's going to benefit you. He's going to help you out. He has the niche trainer and coaching ability, and he's just a fun character. And sometimes it's not always about tier lists. It's not always about one turning, two turning people, straps, medals, and perks aside. Sometimes just having a really fun character that you enjoy using matters most to some people. Not everyone's about the be-all, end-all tier list. They don't live and breathe it. Others are just looking for characters that are genuinely fun to have. And with that, the final character that I feel is the best of 2020. New Gen Trickster, the Gobbledygooker. I had to mention him. Another New Gen rep who took many by surprise. Quick charge moves. Saves you health packs. Saves you heals. Cycles. Has very fun and creative animations. Dominates. There's no way around it. Gobbledygooker was a huge surprise. Huge surprise. And it made sense that they released him when they did because he ended up making an appearance at a pay-per-view at Survivor Series. I want y'all to think about that. I want y'all to think about this. The same time The Undertaker made his debut years ago when he walked down the aisle representing Ted DiBiase was the same night that we got the Gobbledygooker. Just want y'all to think about that. And then years later, the same night that Undertaker walked away from the ring forever, stepped away, stepped down, was the same night we saw the reemergence of the Gobbledygooker. Wrestling, man. That's long-term building right there. That's long-term building for sure. But Gobbledygooker, man, definitely a solid unit. Great champion. Can cycle. Can hit hard. There's many ways you can run him. You can run him Fury. You can run him Armor. He's just the guy that's going to benefit your roster. Solid coaching ability. Solid coaching ability with the increase for all move damage. So, you put this guy on somebody like Keith Lee. You put this guy on somebody like Big E. He's going to make them a monster. A monster and a half. So, he's definitely worth it. Definitely worth you putting in some disposable income to go after him. No matter what your set amount is, this is a guy that when he comes around, you should try. We've been lucky. We've been able to get some bags for him so we can try to pop open and get him. So there's more chances there. But Gobbledygooker is definitely another guy that was introduced in this year. That's worth it. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. But as you can see, y'all, this was a long behind video of There's No Way Around It. Went through a lot of characters. We went through a lot. Some of you might agree with. Some of you not so much. I understand and respect that. It's all good. But we covered every single class that we could. We covered all categories. We covered a lot. We covered a lot in the span of time that we were given and provided. From mega superstars to chase champions to free-to-play units all the way down to the letdowns. So with that being said, y'all, if you made it all the way to the end, thank you so much. This wasn't intended to be a short, sweet, and brief. It was not. It was never intended to be. This is probably one of the longest videos I ever done. But this is what happens when you're breaking down units. I wanted to cover everybody. And again, my apologies for not including NWO 2000 Brett. My apologies for not including NWO Giant. Solid units in their own right. But this was also my opinion. This was also my list. And, that's what the comment section's for. For us to have discussions. For us to get through. This is a long video. Maybe you use this so you can finish out the rest of your limited time tours, your Lacey Evans blitzes. But at the end of the day, it's all about opinion, and it's just about a little bit of thought. So I just wanted to say thank you so much for those of you who rocked out with me this long. Because, again, there was no way this was going to be short. If I'd shortened this video, it wouldn't be doing any of these characters that I covered justice. Point blank, period. Again, I took these screenshots a while back. So by the time you see this video, like I said, when it comes to my account information, it's already been changed. It is what it is. You know, we got coin contests and whatnot. So I just wanted to make sure that I covered everything and got it out there in the open so everybody knows what's up. And I just hope that you enjoyed this video. Next up is the final Q&A session of 2020. So again, if you made it this far, you got any questions to ask, leave them in the comments below. But with that being said, y'all, hey yo, bad times don't last, but champions do. Mad love always and forevermore to each and every single one of you, my beloved #champions fam. I hope that you had a blessed weekend. I hope you had an incredible holiday season. I hope that you're all doing well with you and yours. Are you ready for 2021? Gearson, what's up, broski? But yeah, this has been a long video. Probably one of my longest. But we got a couple things to look forward to. We got a final Q&A for 2020. And we will also have a beginner's guide for 2021. So we will be covering a lot of things. 5-star silvers are out now. We got a lot of new units. We're going to try to cover a lot. Now, I can assure you that more than likely the beginner's guide is going to be shorter than this video and the Q&A. But we're going to hit everything on the button. We're going to hit everything on the nose. And shout out and love to all of you. Thank you again for this crazy ride. Let's continue to build together. Let's continue to enjoy WWE Champions together. Let's just talk about it. Let's chop it up. Maybe there's characters that I missed that you feel should have been on the list. Again, I love communication with y'all. I got nothing but love and respect for y'all who watch the video, let alone those of you who give me input back. I am grateful for you. I am humbled by the experience that you provide because it's a two-way street, okay? It's a two-way street. And at the end of the day, I want everybody to win. So if you enjoyed this video, leave a like. Share it if you wish to as well, to get the community talking and going, you know. And if you haven't already, but you watch this video until the end, you a true soldier. You endured me stumbling over my words, the phone calls, okay? You endured it all. And you rock with your boy, yours truly, the bad guy of WWE Champions, Zeke 4-0. Do yourselves a favor by subscribing to the channel, hitting that bell icon for all future notifications from this channel moving forward as we gear up for WWE Champions 2021. I love you all. I'm thankful for all of you. Mad love to all of the Scopely content creators who are doing their thing on YouTube. Benny, DJ Anon, ZT, Gearson, okay, Merrick's, the broski, you know what I'm saying, Big Papa Bry. Shout out to everyone who has played a role, from Flaming Chaos to External Void, Davey D, David Boy, Mark Rangley, Buck 07. Shout out to all of the content creators, because y'all guys, y'all are an inspiration to many. And you, yes you, my beloved #champions fam, y'all are inspiration for us to keep going and doing what we do. So with that being said, y'all, this was my best of WWE Champions 2020, free-to-play units, chase units, and mega superstars. Hope you made it through to the end. Thank you for watching until the end if you did. And I hope that you all have a blessed day ahead of you. And stay tuned for my final Q&A of the year, as well as my 2021 Beginner's Tips and Guide video. So until next time, y'all, support the broskies, support the culture. Stay tuned. Peace.